Good morning. It's wonderful to see you all this beautiful sunny winter morning. I'm mixed. I'm excited about real snow and cold weather and what feels like a normal climate, and I'm also still wanting to savor that gorgeous fall weather we had. But anyway, I'm glad we had clear enough roads for everybody to get here. My name is Katie Knight. I will be leading a very short service, hopefully, pretty short, this morning so that we have time to get together in conversation. As part of our small group ministry. It seems the best. Okay, this one is meant for singing, so I guess I have to sing everything. As you are welcome here. I think I said my name is Katie Knight and we're having a small group ministry this morning. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children or your partner or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. And Cass will come up and read our chalice lighting this morning.
This is from the Oberlin, Ohio, UU. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together.
A word of explanation before our opening song, one familiar to all of you. It's number 123 in the Singing the Living tradition, Spirit of Life. We've been having, some of us have been having conversations about how to strengthen our singing, and so Karen McLean and some others have agreed to serve as cantors. The cantor is the person who leads our singing, so I have asked Karen to come up and please be the one to keep us together, or sing in a leadership role. Does that cover it, Karen? Yeah. She wanted me to let you know that this was the plan, so you wouldn't think she was just showing off her beautiful voice.
There'll be an intro, right?
Yeah.
Spirit of light.
And now we will have the story for all ages. I would love if some young people and anyone young at heart comes up to the front here. I have a handout, so if you come up to the front, you get a picture, and Ken is showing you what that picture is. So you want to sit right here? And you can just do each, that one's just on paper. Okay, have a seat, kids. I think I can hold it. We aren't taking this from a book. I wanted to have a story that would really just be narrated, so I wouldn't have to do so much with the projector and back and forth and such and such. So today, I'm going to tell you a story about a girl who was searching for a porpoise. Now, as you probably know, a porpoise is a sea mammal in the dolphin family. They're smaller and shyer, and they have more short noses. They're more difficult to find, but porpoises are very important.
The topic for today is about finding purpose. Purpose.
Purpose?
Yes.
So the topic for today isn't porpoises?
No.
Oh no, well, do you mind? This is the only story that I prepared for today. Can I just tell the porpoise story anyway?
Well, sure. We can give it a try.
Okay, so now, there was a little girl about Mara's age, and all she wanted for her birthday, which we know Mara just had a birthday, didn't you? Oh, tomorrow, it's perfect. There was a girl named Amira, kind of like Mara, who was turning 6 years old. All she wanted was a porpoise of her very own. She wished, she hoped, she dreamed of a porpoise. She asked her parents and her grandparents. She told all her friends at school that she was getting a porpoise for her birthday. But her birthday came and went, and she did not get a porpoise. She was disappointed, and she wanted answers. Just like you would have spoken right up, both of you, and said, why didn't I get a porpoise for my birthday? And her parents said, oh, Amira, we couldn't get you a purpose. This is something you need to seek for yourself. She looked at her parents kind of funny and said, you know I said porpoise, right? Like the sea mammal that's smaller than a dolphin? And her parents looked at each other and said, oops, but you can't have a wild animal for your birthday anyway. So Amira asked her grandparents, and they said, oh, Amira, we can't give you a purpose. You have to figure out your own purpose when you're older, and sometimes even adults don't know their own purpose. At this point, Amira was getting super annoyed. I said porpoise, porpoise, the sea mammal, like a small dolphin. Her grandparents said, oh, sorry, we misheard you, but we wouldn't have bought you a porpoise anyway. They belong in the wild, dear. Amira was fuming. Why had no one understood her when she said she wanted a porpoise? And now that she thought about it, why were the adults unwilling to give her a purpose either? What was a purpose anyway? Do you know what a purpose is?
That you or that somebody or something is supposed to do.
Yeah, something you're going to do. Do you want to add to that, Mara? Does that cover it? No. Okay. So Amira said about finding a purpose. Over the next several years, she, like this girl in the picture, asked a lot of adults that she knew and trusted. Some of the adults said, I don't know, that's a really hard thing to explain. What is a purpose? But some of the adults gave her good advice. They said, pay attention to the things you care about and how you can use those to make a difference in the world. You may not have a clear idea about it yet, and your purpose will certainly change over time, But if you think about the things you value and how you can use those things for good, you will be on the right track. So Amira thought about the things she valued and cared about, things like animals and the habitats they live in. She thought about the things she liked to do, things like learning new things and teaching these things to younger children. She thought about her heroes, people who were living their lives in ways she wanted to copy. And she thought about what was possible and ways she could change the world when she was older. And eventually, after some time and work, Amira came up with her purpose. And the funny thing is, Amira's purpose did not stray too far from porpoises. She decided that her purpose was to be a caring advocate for the earth and teach others about conservation. And that's just what she did. And so I thought this picture could be of Amira swimming with the porpoise. So we will not necessarily sing the kids out. I don't know if you're staying or going down to the other wing, but let's sing. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, and now Ken, our much appreciated treasurer on the board, is going to speak to us.
I am. Katie told me I had 2 to 3 minutes because we really need to keep this a short service so we can get on with our discussion groups. So I brought my handy helper, my timer. When my timer goes off in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll either totally stop or you can all wave your arms and go, time out. Is it there? Are we there? Okay. Can you hear me now? Ah, thank you, Cole. So here we go. Katie had said that I would be talking about time, talent, and treasure. Actually, I'm going to skip the first two because we've got a whole lot of other conversation around that. We're just going to talk about treasure. I want to point out something in our draft operating budget that I'm really well aware of because I've been watching these numbers, but maybe not all of you are as aware. In our Valley Bank checking account, in our new budget, we show that we're going to contribute $13,050. Can we do that? Yes, we can. But here's the deal. It's not sustainable long term. The UUA has asked that all congregations maintain an amount in their checking or available resources equal to 1 year of their operating expense. If we were to take that full $13,050, there is no way that we would be able to take another $13,050 next year and maintain some sort of a reliable safety net. Now, all of us in our household budgets have to make decisions, and we all have to balance our budgets, unless we run up credit cards. And I went through that experience, and that's no fun, trying to pay all that back. BSUU doesn't have a credit card. We're just running on the resources that are provided by all of you. Now, our board has worked hard this year to come up with what we think is a really good mix of services that cost money that would be of value to all of you. When you're looking at that budget, I ask you to do two things. One, think about those things that are in that budget that are important to you and how much they cost. And do you really want to keep them? We're kind of thinking you probably will, but it's important that you look at what's available and say, you know, I need to think about how this is going to work. Well, I'm seeing that either I set the time wrong or I'm almost up. So let me just say that something kind of caught me up short yesterday that I got in the mail. This is an announcement from the Helena Independent Record. I don't know how many of you are subscribers, but I grew up with the Independent Record and other newspapers all of my life. It's a very important touchstone for me to have that physical piece of paper in front of me every morning. I count on it. It's really something I value very, very much. But this new bill has put the cost of that paper, that physical piece of paper, at over $1,200 a year. Now I look at what I'm spending or what I'm proposing to pledge, and I'm asking myself, is this paper more important than everything that I receive from BSUU? And in honesty, I have to say it doesn't even come close. So I'm not asking you, if you have a subscription, to cancel it or to, break the bank trying to spend more money than you have. What I am asking you to do is please take a very serious look at where you commit your resources and what you're getting in return, and factor in BSUU as a piece of that. And please, to the extent that you're able, give generously. We need those resources, you need those resources, so that all of us can function together. And I'm way over my time, so thank you, and on to Katie.
Thank you so much, Ken. And I encourage everybody to really take a look at that budget and ask yourselves those questions. What can we give up? How much can I give? So this morning, I had totally planned our small group conversation to focus on the second principle. We discussed the first principle last month. We got 7 principles, about 7 months to get this discussion going. Made sense. Oops. Then I was at the monthly meeting of the board presidents of the UUs in Wyoming and Montana, and learned that actually the Article 2 Commission has finished its writing, and they have now released a rewrite of the bylaws, Article 2, that would replace the 7 principles with the new values and covenant. So I did a little change of gear here in my intention, and I'm sharing those with you today. They're still in the process of being weighed and discussed. Your announcements included links to Zoom meetings if you are interested in participating in the discussion, and there's plenty of time for suggestions. Also, as a proposal, the new wording for Article 2 will be voted on at the 2023 General Assembly meeting. But I'm gonna back up a little bit here, because one of the things that I've been concerned about in our fellowship is what has felt to me like a lack of covenant. Covenant, that fundamental agreement that holds us together, that talks about how we relate to each other. And because I've been coming for 12 years, and I've never experienced a reconsideration or a rewrite of a covenant or a mission. We did work on the vision in 2018. But since we came back together in person and have been having these little papers, I've been reacquainting myself with what is on the front. And I'm going to ask you to read that aloud with me. So turn to the front of your order of service, right under my name in italics. Let's read this statement. We unite in this fellowship to seek truth, deepen our awareness of religious values, strengthen one another in our free search, maintain the sanctity of the individual conscience bound by no dogmas or creed, and uphold the freedom, community, and equal rights for all. Now, to me, that sounds like a statement of purpose, a mission statement, one that doesn't mention the 7 principles, but it feels like the core of our reason for being together. And then BSUU is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association. It's a free association of independent congregations, and it functions with bylaws. Article 2 is the bylaw that talks about the statement of purpose for the UUA. And they have rewritten this statement of purpose as well. I did include it in your order of service. It's section C 2.1, purposes. And again, this is the UUA's purpose. The Unitarian Universalist Association shall devote its resources to and exercise its organizational powers for religious, educational, and humanitarian purposes. Its primary purposes are to equip congregations for vital ministry, to support and train leaders, both lay and professional, to heal historic inequities, and to advance our Unitarian Universalist values in the world. We will transform the world by our liberating love. Now, Article 2 is where we currently have the 7 principles that summarize our values. This was written in 1987, and the bylaws also state that every 15 years we'll revisit these. And they've been revisited and reapproved up until 2017. They were still in existence, but questions began arising about the need to rewrite them. So what has been written now is just in draft form, and this, what you see up here, is basically the essence of Article 2. It is a word web. It is followed by a paragraph for each of these words. Each of the words are defined pretty briefly, and that's what one of the things I'm going to ask you to consider in small groups. Now, as an independent congregation, and all of the UU congregations are this way, we can continue to use the 7 principles however we want. They are ours. We hold them close. They've been really useful and foundational, but we are going to be asked to consider a shift to values and covenant. And so in your small groups, I'm going to ask you to look at those. But first, I just want to say a word about that central word, love. Here's how love is described. And on the back of your order of service are the described words, what they mean. Love is the enduring force that holds us together. Love inspires and powers the passion with which we embody our values. Inseparable from one another are all of these values. They're all connected, and so that's why they made a word web. Well, if you knew how I grew up, you'd know that I just kind of went, yes, because my parents, an atheist and a raised fundamentalist Christian, those are my 2 parents, they taught me that love was our religion. And so when I first heard the Ziggy Marley song, Love is My Religion, I was like, yeah, I'm really grooving to that. And so then when our legislature 2 years ago started making all these anti-trans bills and hateful kind of bills, of course I had to go down to protest. And when I go to the Capitol to protest, I always take my camera. So I have a big camera. I can't hold anything. I have to free hands. So I put a sign on the back of my camera bag, and I have a number of these signs. I tie them on to the bag. And so this is what I wore around the Capitol. I had a couple of opportunities to do that this past year, and I'm sure that none of those legislators recognized the name of the song, but this is my truth. And so I'm excited to have us consider these. And Ken, if you want to bring up the small group covenant, we're going to break up into small groups after our closing song. And I'm just going to give you a little guidance on how these work. Many of you were here last month, but we all covenant or agree to honor the safety of the group by listening to others with an open heart, refrain from crosstalk, judgment, or giving advice, share as deeply as I can when it's my turn, and not to gossip about what is shared in the group and to tell only my story to others. And then you can go to the next slide there. So here's how the process is going to work. We're going to split into groups of approximately 6 people. We'll be counting off after the song. And there'll be, I think, time for 3 rounds of sharing. You might have to modify this as you go. Round 1, I would like you to take turns going around the circle and just reading these words that we saw in the word circle, the word web. And that's the first round. Round 2 is reflect on how these values relate to your own. And round 3, the question is there anything you'd like to see added? And so the way this works is everybody just takes, a minute or so on their turn, and then you continue around the circle. You don't start a conversation back and forth. You don't, select a leader in your group, and that leader just kind of reminds people to keep going, and the leader can say thank you, but that's it. It gives people freedom to speak, and just, I'm looking forward to the process. So, it's time for our closing song, and after that, we're going to count off and split up into different groups. So we're going to split into 4 groups, and we're moving around just counting in sequence in order to help people mix and match with someone they might not already be sitting with. So Jessica, would you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's just go up to 4. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. Will you be 1, Pete?